You're listening to the Grit to Growth podcast. Real talk with real business owners and professionals who built their freedom the hard way and now want more time, money, and impact.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm your host, Levi Tesla with Mailbox Money, and joining me today is Roger Pedersen of East River Contracting. Roger, how you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me, Levi.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to join us, Roger. So I kind of want you to share your story, and let's start at the beginning. How did you before you started East River, what is kind of your journey getting there?
Yeah, I guess I can go back to growing up Lake Poncet. My dad owned a resort, Siouxland Resort, there, and also which was a bar and restaurant, and also had a campground. So early on, my brother and I, my older brother David, we grew up where holidays and weekends, basically any time off school was work, right? So we were either bagging ice, fishing dead minnows out of the minnow tank, burning boxes, whatever it was, all the way up to mowing, to helping build out a whole nother addition to the campground. So that's kind of how
you said there was a restaurant there?
Yep, there was a restaurant there, and there still is actually to this.
Did you have to do any waiting tables or anything like that?
Yeah, that was when I was young. So we owned it till I was about 14, as far as the bar and restaurant goes. And yeah, I did have to do some, waiting tables, cleaning tables, I would say most of the time. So busting tables. So I was more of a bus boy than a waiter or a waitress. But
okay, yep.
Yeah, so actually my first skill probably was actually more so cooking in the restaurant. So that's cool. Probably where we started any actual skill. I would say everything else was just kind of grunt work,
Yeah, for sure.
Going through that. I went to school at Hamlin, eventually went to college at SDSU, went for broadcast journalism. So I actually wanted to, be involved some way in sports. I was kind of a big sports fan, you could say, growing up in a sports bar. Who would figure, right?
Did you get to do any kind of broadcast? Are you talking about actually hosting on doing the announcing, or are you talking more back end on the broadcast?
So I wanted to do whatever kind of thing, like anything that got me involved in some way of sports, whether it's photography, running video camera, being on the radio. I did work for Brookings Radio for a little bit, just as an intern, and I enjoyed that, and then went on to Sioux Falls after graduation and worked at KDLT for absolutely. A time period there, just running camera. Found that pay-wise, not so, it was kind of one of those things where it was like, this is going to be rough, and even if I get out of it, it's still pretty rough.
It's a pretty competitive space too, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was. There's a lot of people going for those positions, you could say, and yeah, there wasn't many positions available as well. So, then I ended up down in Texas, where my family, my parents had actually moved down there to Corpus Christi shortly after I graduated high school. They had been living down there. Went down there, worked for a property management company. My brother, in the meantime, had so this would have been around 2014, 2015. Him and Russell had kind of partnered up on RW Construction and East River Homes, so up here in South Dakota. So when I came back, anyways, kind of talked me into coming back, essentially. And yeah, that's kind of how I ended up back in the, I guess, a short collaborated story of how I ended up where we are today.
Like you said, so for East River, it's you, your brother, and Roger, right?
And Russell.
Russell, sorry, you are Roger. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
You and so the relationship actually came from Russell with your brother, and then you joined them. Is that correct?
Yep. So I would have joined just as an employee in 2015. And I think
Okay.
Dylan Mitchell, who is our fourth partner, I think he would have joined in around 2016. And back then we were mostly just doing roofing. So we were just, moving shingles, putting new shingles on houses.
You've hit all the very fitting you're on Grit to Growth, because you've hit all the hard industries to be in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that, we moved into doing some spec house. Well, they had started a spec house, and then we were kind of moving into leaning that way. So that's where East River Homes kind of started. We were going to continue to do more and more houses, and then 2019 is when we kind of hit our explosive growth, you could say, into the we went into concrete. Not really sure how we really ended up getting into it. Like, it was kind of one of those things where we just started saying yes to a lot of stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, we can maybe do that. It's funny that I kind of listened to a podcast on the way here where, I don't know if you're familiar with Keaton Turner or Benjamin Holmgren or anything like that. They're kind of in the dirt
Name
world.
sounds familiar. Yeah.
They were kind of talking about how if I were to start an excavation company to this day, how I would go about starting it, essentially. And one of them's on the line of, basically starting from scratch, go out, work for, another company and try to get like their scraps of work. And this other theory is work for somebody and eventually take over their business. And, they were so thought out on how they would go about things. And I mean, we essentially started from scratch over here. So, I mean, but I like looking at it and like hearing how they talked about it. We never really were that thought out. It just kind of, it just kind of happened. Like, looking, like, I always think about this as just like, we never really had a discussion of like, let's go buy some concrete forms and start a concrete side of the business. It was just like, well, should we do this? Yeah, okay. Like, no really thinking it through. It was just like, I think this is a good idea. Do you think this is a good idea? Yeah, I mean, let's try it, see what happens.
Not getting paralyzed in the analytical side of thing. You're actually taking action, right?
Yeah,
and finding out what works from there.
But nowadays, where we're sitting, everything's more analytical. Like, in our brains, like, we're looking at it from a standpoint of, does this make sense? Like, financially, does this make sense for employees? Does this make sense for the customer? Back then, it was just kind of, let's see what happens type thing.
Do you think if you would have started out more analytical, it would have helped you get further today? Or do you think taking that action right away, learning, and then becoming analytical was more beneficial for you guys?
I think it would have prevented us from taking those risks. I think, so, the nice thing about having partnerships is we kind of all have our own personalities too. Mm-hmm. I guess, like, my brother's very kind of the realist, kind of brings us back to reality a little bit of like, hey, we shouldn't do that, or hey, you're going to have to do this, this, and this to actually get to that. Whereas I would say, the other three of us are more of like, let's just do it type thing, like that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's good to have that. And at that time, we may have gotten lucky. We snuck that one by him type thing, where it's just like, we're just going to do this. And, now here we are.
He was out on vacation that day.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where he was, but he let that one slide. So
he's probably thanking you guys now, though.
Yeah, maybe some days, maybe not. It's still, up in the air on that.
Yeah, very cool. Well, yeah, you've kind of touched base on it, but I was curious, what are your guys' like big goals for this year?
Big goals for this year is a little more analytical, like we had talked about, getting things in line as far as focusing on our core focus on what we're good at. So we kind of, got into all these different lines where we'd go tear off siding, re-side a building. We'd go do all these different things. We're trying to more so focus on our commercial concrete and our commercial framing, and kind of have our turnkey packages that go along with those, and kind of stick to our niche. That's something that that we're trying to work on this year. I mean, because at the core of who East River is that we're a subcontractor that specializes in commercial concrete and commercial framing. So we provide materials with our packages. There's not too many subcontractors out there doing that
Yeah.
in those scopes of work. So it makes it easier on the general contractor, whoever the customer, the developer is at the time. So presenting and moving forward on how to figure out how to be more structured and
Okay.
yeah, that.
That kind of leads me into, you talked about working with developers and everything. Where did the relationship start with us mailbox money, and how did that kind of turn into work then?
Yeah, so I guess the relationship would have started. I mean, I think David probably had met Dustin well before I did. Actually, I think so. We kind of grew up in the trailer park there behind Siouxland
Yep.
at Lake Ponset. So actually, that's probably where we first would have met Dustin, or knew Dustin, because I mean
Y-
his mom lived back there at one point, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
near us. So that's where it would have all initially started. But um, I guess I think Anna, your sister, would probably have been the first. Hey, we're interested in investing in some money, or doing something like that, or getting something started. So I think that initially started the first conversation with Dustin about the reserve flats in Brookings. That would
Yeah.
have been either
Absolutely.
2019 or 2020, kind of maybe, yeah, 2019, I think
Yeah, I
would have
think it
maybe
was
been.
right before. Yeah, I think right before COVID hit, because those kind of came online during COVID, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we got those right during COVID, and then also right during a tornado that went through Brookings right there at the
Yeah.
same time. So
Yeah. It hit the building, didn't it?
yeah, it did. The fourth building that was going up at the time, I think we had just gotten the roof sheeted, everything, and yeah, just starting putting windows in, and sure enough,
So for other business owners, insurance is important, right?
yeah, it is. That's
Yeah.
another thing that, yeah, we've learned throughout this time period, that, yeah, how important that kind of stuff is. So
Yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, that ended up paying the rents while we were down and everything. And so yeah, obviously when you're first starting out on a brand new development, getting stabilized is the most important thing you can do. And if your building's been hit by a tornado, hard to do so.
yeah, exactly. No, and that was yeah, we were getting so close to the deadline and everything, and oh man, those are the things that you have to learn that they're just kind of out of your control at that time, type thing too. And that was that's been it was kind of a huge point of growth for us, because some of that stuff you just obviously you can't control when a tornado is going to hit your building, but you can control how you're going to react to it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've kind of been through everything and you've always been a busy guy. How do you find time to balance between work and your personal life?
well, I've got a stable wife at home that keeps me grounded, and
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and we have three kids, so I got three daughters, all 5, 3, and 1. So
Yeah, I'm also a girl dad. I got two little. I'm 3. She just turned 3 and the other is just about 7 months or just over 7 months now.
nice. Walking yet, or kind of just trying, or picking
She's
themselves
kind
up?
of doing the army crawl thing right now is what she's doing.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun time. It is. I mean, it's all fun, I think, no matter what age. I gotta imagine. I mean,
I
I'll get back to you when they turn like 13, but
I know. That's what you always hear. So we were just at the Missouri River camping the other week, and my 3-year-old, she was just playing on the beach, right? And she was just kind of people watching, sitting by me, very calm. Then all suddenly these two little boys come ripping through. They're spraying each other, getting us, and the mom's yelling at them. So I was like, "Oh, that's the difference between having girls and boys." And she's like, "Yep, that plus a lot more dirt."
yeah, probably it's a little messier. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
back to what you were saying about your family there.
No, those girls, they keep me busy, when,
Yeah.
and it's kind of been one of those things where when they were younger, I was on the road little bit more. We were doing work in Billings, Montana, and kind of all
Hmm.
over the place. So I was gone a little bit more. But now, as they've gotten a little bit older, and you can spend that quality time and watch their how their brains work, it's made me stay at home, and put the phone down and actually
Be
spend
there.
quality time and be
Yeah.
there. So it's been nice to be able to get a little bit more structure in my personal life in that way of, hey, put it away, focus on time with them. Um, yeah,
Awesome.
that's been helpful.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't be where I'm at professionally or anything without my wife or family, so it's always got to give them the shout out.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna kind of wrap things up. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell kind of any up and coming young entrepreneurs or professionals?
Yeah. I guess in my opinion, you'll get told a lot of different ways on how to do things or how you should go about things. Um, I would say you just kind of have to find your own. You have to find your own way. Just and take risks, but that's the biggest thing is if you feel confident about something, um,
Run with
yeah,
it.
run with it.
Yeah,
That's
I can kind of tell from you, you're kind of a believer. It seems like, yeah, you take that risk, and once you find something and run with it, then protect it, right? But before that, you got to take the risk to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, you're already taking a risk and just starting your own business, but I mean, like, yeah, just keep going with that same mindset for a little while, and that'll propel you. I feel like just being open.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great message for the viewers to take away. Well, I appreciate your time, Roger. And if people want to get a hold of you or in touch with you or see what you're doing, where is the best spot for them to do so?
Yeah. So you can go either to our website, eastriverusa.com, or just, yeah, I would say that'd probably be the best spot to get a
Yeah.
hold of us. Yeah. Other than that, personally, I can share my information as well with you. So give
Cool.
that to you.
That sounds good. Well, we appreciate the time, Roger.
All
Thanks.
right.
And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, Levi.
Know someone with serious grit and a great growth story? Send them our way at grittogrowthpodcast.com/guest.